Welcome. How are you all doing today? It's so good to see so many smiling faces here. Well, I really can't see you guys, but I guess you can see my smiling face, but there are a lot of you here. And for that, I say thank you. I think most of you know my name is Todd Bookspan, and I am the founder of Win by Noon. And this is the Loan Officer Operating System 2.0 Q&A webinar. And so here is how it's going to work. I'm going to ask you guys a few questions in a minute, just to kind of see who's here and where we're at on everything. And then I'm going to spend a very brief amount of time just running through sort of the slides I had done for when I pitched it the other day on the top 3 ideas. So I'm going to go back through those again, because a lot of people who are here did not watch that webinar. And so I'll just kind of give the overviews of it, of the program, and I'll give a little more detail on it that I gave the other day. And then I'll start asking or start answering questions. So really, at any point that you've got a question for me, you can use the chat or you can use the Q&A. I think the questions thing may be live on here, but either way, if not, the chat is live, either one of those. And my goal is to not keep you here all day, but I will try to knock through what I think are the basic important points and then answer all your questions. And I will stay on here till I've answered everyone's questions that you all have, because I'm super excited. I'm most passionate about coaching, more passionate about coaching than I am about everything else that I do. And, my kind of journey was, I was really lucky. My first year in the business was a pretty good year. And I closed a lot of loans, and, more than most people close in their first year business. And it put me in a position where I could afford to get a coach. And so I hired a coach early on, and I was able to have a one-on-one coach, which, at that time, 20 years ago, was expensive. It cost about $8,000 a year for a one-on-one coach that I got to talk to every other week for 30 minutes. So you can do the math, and it was expensive. And then I was a member of that coaching company's clientele for a long time. I became part of what they called their master's coach group, which was $25,000 a year, included that same coaching, but we got together for a couple of days, once a quarter. And it continued to fuel me, right? I was surrounded by some of the best leaders, the best loan officers in the mortgage industry. And so a lot of what I have learned in my DNA, I've learned from those folks. And then I ended up going to work as a coach for that company. But even before I started as a coach for that company, I had actually created a group coaching program. And I partnered with them on that group coaching program. And they had 3 coaches coaching it all over the country, 10 loan officers at a time, $50,000 over 6 months. And guess what? That is what I've taken and built the operating system 2.0 on. That company decided to take a leadership focus. I got my intellectual property back. And that is the basis for what is built into the operating system 2.0. And it's been expanded and revised since then. And it's got a little bit more of my personal stuff in it now, since I'm the only one teaching it. I'm teaching directly to you. So it's got more of my personal scripts and my personal processes in it. And it's really updated because 2022 is a different year than when we started the program. I mean, this is a year where we're transitioning into higher interest rates. We're transitioning into less inventory. Well, we're already in less inventory, but even less inventory, and certainly have transitioned, if not even transitioning further, out of refinances and into a purchase business. And so, it's really my 20 plus years in the industry. It's me being part of coaching groups and masterminds where I've learned from, some of the who's who of the business that you would know. And then also not just me coaching this content, but other coaches coaching this content and getting feedback on how to make it better. It's what I did to build my, $100 million production before I got out of producing to coach. It is what I've coached others who I've coached up the scale. As a coach, when I was doing full-time coaching, I was coaching anywhere from the CEO of a small independent to some of the top, probably 10, 20 producers in the country to kind of average folks. But most people wanted to learn how to grow and scale. And that's really what this program is about. And I'm super passionate about it. So if you've already checked out the page, I'll give the spoiler alert of the cost right now. And I'm going to give you my poll, and then I'll kind of walk through what it kind of entails and includes. I did it based on production, right? So the last time I taught this, which was at the end of 2019, I charged $499 a month, and I sold it out and filled it up. And this time I decided I wanted to have more brand new loan officers in there. The new loan officers couldn't afford $499 a month. And so if you're brand new, it's $99 a month for 3 months. If you're doing under 5 loans a month, right, 4 less loans a month on average, then it's $199. And then I've got people already signed up who are actually crushing it, right? Over 100 loans a month who want to actually be there to learn my scripts, really sharpen their systems and processes. And I think they'll actually add a lot of benefit to all of you as well, regardless of your production level. And for those doing 5+ loans, $299. So I've really tried to make it affordable because ultimately in the end, I want to impact you. I want to help you reach your potential, whatever you believe it to be. So here are my polls. And so this is just, again, for me to sort of understand what's going on. So I want to know, how long have you been in the business? So have you been in the business? So pay attention now, those of you who are like, off out there, give me kind of your time frame. And I would tell you it's right now it's pretty evenly split, just so you know, of people who've already registered for the class. I've got a good chunk of brand new people. Why? Because I got a lot of friends in the business who have teammates and people in their office or branch managers, and they said, gosh, so much easier to have Todd train them than it is for me to train them, or they've already trained them, but it's just good to have that perspective from somebody who's slightly different. And so you on the call, just so you guys know, less than a year, 17%, 1 to 2 years is 4%, 22%, 3 to 5 years, and 57% 5+ years. And so again, don't take this the wrong way. My goal is never to be a jerk, but I would ask you, if you've been in the business for more than a year, do you feel like you've actually grown through that time frame, or do you feel like you're repeating, your X number of year over and over again? So we interviewed Wally Elibieri. I always want to pronounce his name wrong. Elibieri out of Texas. He closed $200 million this last year. And I know Wally, he's just a superhuman. But what he said was, in his first 17 years of the business, before he got coached, he felt like he repeated his first year over again 17 times. And that's not what I want, especially for, those of you who've been in this business for a short period of time. And I'm hoping that for those of you who've been in the business longer, that you're not struggling from there. All right, so here's my next question then. Oops, there we go. Hang on, I gotta get so just give me a volume. So since some of you guys are here, and what are you doing consistently? So are you brand new and you're not even closing a loan a month consistently? Are you closing 2 to 4 loans? Or are you closing 5+? And just so you know, I've got somebody who signed up who's closed 143 loans last year. So I've got some, and other people who have taken the 5+. I haven't surveyed all of them, but we've got a lot. So, so we got it pretty even split, 11% 1 or less, 10% now. So definitely those of you 1 or less, I mean, this is going to be helping your DNA grow. I got a lot of you in the 2 to 4 range, 50% of you, and then 41% in the 5+ range. And so again, it's really built for everybody. It starts off where we walk, right? We start with some basics. So for those of you doing 5+ loans a month, the first week or two may be a little slower, but then we start jogging and we actually run pretty quick. The last time I taught it, the other thing I did say is that it was 12 weeks, but I actually did every other week for the last month. This time I'm going straight all the way through, which is going to put more work on you guys, but it's more content, more commitment. We'll be recording all of the calls. And so because I'm recording them, you'll have access to them in a portal. And so you're going to get through it and you're going to go, holy smokes, that was like drinking from a fire hose. I got to go back. And so, that for sure is it. And then the last question is, and don't laugh at this one, but I already know some of you have already signed up. So my question for you is, have you already signed up, or are you still kicking the tires? And this is just a personal one, because I feel like, so it's 80, 20, 85, 15. All right, people are still going. The numbers are going up. Only 62% of you voted. Keep voting. All right, so we're racing 90-10. Let's just call it that. So, yeah, I always find that interesting, and that's why I ask, because I tend to find that people who've already signed up want to come and learn more. So great, ask questions. Thank you for signing up. It means the world to me that you have had the confidence in me to invest your money already, and so I'm super grateful for that. And so real quick, let me just run through these slides, and then let me just kind of walk through everything else, and then I'll answer all of your questions. And my goal is to make this quick, because no one's got 60 years to get through this, but ultimately it will help me. So let me just show these slides real quick that we looked at a little bit already. So again, if you're already on, they're not anything fancier other than I added one slide. It says, join me on a 12-week journey to grow your mortgage practice. But this is the bottom line, right? Close more loans, right? We want to close more loans, and it should have another word in there. It should have the word in there, close more loans consistently, right? I don't want you to be one of those people who closes 5 loans and you're like, yeah, I did it. Todd was right. I could close 5 loans, only to close 1 or 2 the next month, and then have it be 3 to 4 the next month, and then finally get back to 5, and then start that roller coaster all over again, right? I want you to have systems and practices that will help you close more loans consistently. So it's going to be scripting, processes, and systems, right? That's what you all need. That's why you're here. And I don't have too many gifts. But for whatever reason, scripting has been a good gift of mine. I feel like I'm pretty good at building relationship and rapport with people, and we'll spend a lot of time on scripts for all these different processes. And I'll tell you that my theory on scripting is memorize, right? So learn a script from me or someone else that you've seen, customize. So then you customize it for you, because again, you're gonna be like, oh, Todd used this word and that just doesn't feel like me. And then you're going to internalize it so that you can say it over and over again. And then processes. Again, I'll be sharing processes. And when I share a process, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to share what I think is the best process. But the same thing, you're going to customize it for you. And then I'll share where, hey, you know what, this person that that I may have coached, or maybe was a friend of mine and shared their process with me, this is what they do that's different than mine, right? So it's not going to be one way. It's going to be multiple different solutions for each of these things, because ultimately you're not going to necessarily like option A, but you might like option B or option C. There's going to be some accountability. Yeah, you know what? In fact, I should throw it out there too. You don't have to be a win by noon user to be part of the program, but we're absolutely going to be accountable. We're going to push you, right? It's going to be easy for me to push those of you that are doing less loans to be accountable. Where I'm going to struggle is to push those of you that are closing 5+ loans, that the accountability matters. And I would just tell you this, the reason that I have a coach today, and the reason I've always had a coach, is because I want and need the accountability, right? Nobody wants accountability. Well, I do, but everyone feels like they don't, but everyone needs it, right? Everyone feels like, I'm good, but there will be some accountability. And the reason I say some accountability, because in the end, you're going to get to choose or not, right? I got clients when I do individual coaching, which I do every once in a while, who pay $1,500 a month to $2,500 a month for an hour of my time each month. And guess what? Those people get accountability, right? They get me reaching through the screen and poking them, up here and saying, hey, where's your homework? Hey, where's your numbers? And you guys are going to get that verbally from me, and I'll probably harass some of you by email, but ultimately it's going to be up to you to choose in and opt whether you want the accountability or not, because it's group coaching and it's about you, and you're making the choice to be here. And if you want to get the most out of it, you're going to do the homework. And if you don't do the homework or turn in the homework, you're probably not going to get the most out of it, but you're going to still grow. And that's the bottom line. And I think some of you might get lost early on and go, oh my gosh, I'm behind. That's why it's recorded. You'll always be able to go back to the content, and you'll be able to spread it out, revisit it, and do it on your own. I already mentioned lots of scripting, but here's what kind of the process stuff, right? Really, first and foremost, we're not going to start here, but this is what you all want, how to get more realtor relationships, right? So we will start it earlier than we should, but I'm going to start it early because I know it's important. I want to get you guys up and running. And we're going to walk through how I would go out and reach out to agents, like who's your avatar, like who is it that you actually should be targeting, how to actually get more people to talk to you about this. I talked a little bit about it on that webinar the other day, the 3 top ideas, because this is my top idea to grow your business this year. And then we'll talk through the strategies and the tactics to get the meeting. We'll talk through the scripts at the meetings. And so I'm really excited for that part. We're gonna do lots on lead follow-up, right? Like, what does the system need to look like? What are the scripts? Pre-qualification, incubation, meaning, hey, once they're pre-qualified, what is it I'm saying to them each week? How does that look? What are those conversations like to make sure that you get those transactions? There's that old saying, if you don't follow with them, they won't follow up with you. We're going to talk about under contract processes. Again, these are things that if you're doing 5 loans a month, you have a process for this already. And all I would say is, hey, is it the best process possible, right? Is it truly the best experience ever? We interviewed Jeremy Forcier on the Mortgage Coach Call this morning. If you don't know who Jeremy is, he closed 420 loans last year, 21 loans, something like that. Over $200 million. But what he said is, hey, I just spent time in Mexico, and the question I was trying to answer is what's the best process I've ever been through from a client experience? And for him, it was buying a Tesla. Now, I don't own a Tesla, so I've never been through that experience, but it was 18 minutes, he said. I'm like, holy smokes, I bought a Ford. So apparently when I bought my Ford, it was a couple of hours of painfulness. And so, again, they made it super easy and really want to talk how to improve your process. So you might have a really good process. In fact, you might have a great process, but maybe we can just 1% it better. We'll talk about how we do things under contract, again, to make it a 5-star experience. In fact, you'll see here, getting 5-star reviews, I've got a process for that. Annual mortgage reviews, again, I think that is a critical part of the year. So we'll be going through, again, how to do them, what to say, scripts, letters to send out, all the things that I've done and my friends in the industry have done. And then ultimately how you turn that into building clients for life, right? It's turning your database into a data bank. I don't know who said that. Maybe you know it, tell me, but I love that idea of in the end, it's the reason that my team still last year closed just over 500 loans, 168 million, something like that. Or no, 158 million, sorry, just exaggerated slightly. But they're still doing that with the relationships and the systems that I built, when I grew my team to $100 million team and then got out of the business to coach. And then we're going to talk about some other unique things. We're going to talk about your mortgage why, right? My why is to help you reach your potential, whatever you believe it to be. But I want you to figure out what's your mortgage why, right? Because that's going to help you be laser focused on who your ideal client is, laser focused on who your ideal partner is. We're going to talk about elevator pitches, right? Like, what do you say when someone says, what do you do? We're going to talk about unique value proposition, right? They kind of go hand in hand with each other. But I find that even the best loan officers I know stumble over how to get up and how to capture that room when they're given 30 seconds or a minute to introduce themselves, or when it's someone on the phone's like, well, why should I do business with you? What do you say? We're going to spend time on that. That's really important. And then of course, again, I'm the win by noon guy. We're going to talk about productivities, numbers, tracking in your ideal week, but that's going to be just a really tiny part of it. But if I don't actually instill it in you brand new people, and if I don't reinstill it in those of you who are doing however many loans you're doing, then I'm doing you a disservice. So we've got to have a little bit of that as well. Ultimately, it's about getting more done in less time. And I already said it, it's a live 12-week coaching program. My goal is to help you reach your potential. I told you that. I made it affordable. Like I said, it was originally $50K. Last time I charged $1,500, and this is what it's going to be. So it's a monthly thing. It's 3 months. So obviously you can do the math. You're paying $99 for 3 months if you're new. If you're doing 4 less loans, $199, and then $299 if you're doing 5+ loans. Now, I love this. I put you all on the honor system. And I just had someone email and said, hey, I accidentally signed up for the $199, can you put me in the $299, right? So, it's all about, you guys are in the honor system. And so that's your piece. If for some reason you are in a financial pinch, send me an email, todd@winbynoon.com. And, I'm happy to discuss that with you. Again, I don't want the money to be the reason you don't join. I will tell you, the first time I did this as the Win by Noon operating system, I did offer some scholarships, and transparently, the people who did scholarships didn't all make it through, right? You have to have skin in the game. And so that's why I picked $100, because I kind of thought, hey, if you're new in the business, you could afford $99 a month. But if for some reason you're in any of these levels and any of these levels are a challenge to you, just let me know, todd@winbynoon.com. All right. So, and the last thing is, I think you guys already know this, but I'll throw it out there. Kicks off next Tuesday at noon Pacific time. So we're going to meet every Tuesday at noon. I would plan on an hour. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you about that though. I'm going to teach for 45 minutes-ish. Sometimes it might go to an hour, and then I will have 15 minutes-ish of Q&A. And my target is to be done in 60 minutes. However, I have it on my calendar for 90 minutes. Why do I do that? Because there's a good chance you guys are going to have lots of questions and it's going to go beyond. I feel like one of the biggest opportunities that I can offer you is my time to the group and answer questions. So I would tell you that when I did it before, there were times that we went over an hour. And don't feel like you got to stick on. Like if we hit an hour and 5 minutes, or you told a realtor you're going to call them, then get off. It'll be recorded. You can come back and listen to it. But you will find lots of random thoughts from Todd, because what will happen is I'll look around because no one will have a question, and I'll still have a few minutes, and I'll pick something up off my desk and I will go off and talk about why that thing, that idea is important. I would say this about it. It's I listened this morning while I was doing my stretching to a Kobe Bryant little, motivational thing where people put together things that Kobe Bryant said. Now, listen, you may be the world's biggest Kobe Bryant fan, or you could be like me. I'm a Phoenix Suns fan, and I didn't always love Kobe Bryant when he was a player. But what I realized is that when you study the best, you become better. And he said something that I thought was really interesting. He talked about when he was 35 and ruptured his Achilles tendon. Apparently that's the worst injury that he thought you could have as a basketball player. And he said, I'm older. Like, I'm worried that my career is over. He said, I've done that step over a million times, and this time it got me. And he said he had to make a decision. He said, I had to make a decision that I was going to come back, that this wasn't going to be the injury that ended my career. And so I think for you guys, that's where you're at. You guys have to make the decision that, is this what will help me grow? And he said, basically, for me, it's like, it could have been overwhelming. He said, it took 9 months. It's a 9-month to rehab injury. And he said, if you're going to climb Mount Everest and you look up at the top of the mountain, it's way too overwhelming, right? So I know when I talk to somebody who's brand new and I tell you, gosh, you know what? I did 551 loans my last year doing loans, 113 million in production. I grew at 45% in 1 year by just changing up my operating system. That's overwhelming. But he just said, hey, it's like climbing Mount Everest. He said it's slightly different than this. He said, it's like climbing Mount Everest. he said, in my mind, you're going from base camp to base camp. In his mind, he said, it's actually just one step at a time. He said, the problem is when you look up, you're going to doubt yourself. But if you just take one step at a time, and that's what this program is decided to be, right? I'll tell you this, it's probably too much for some of you. And I don't apologize for that, because I already said it, you might be going too fast, and then you might feel like you're falling behind, but that's okay, because you might say, gosh, I'm not ready for, I don't need to work on my pre-qualification incubation system because I don't have very many pre-quals. Well, that's great. Then you'll actually not worry about that one. Right now, you'll worry about the other pieces that you need in order to get more pre-quals. So hope that makes sense. Now I'm just going to dig in and start answering questions. So I got the chat open. I also got the Q&A rolling. And so you guys will all see that. All right. Todd, do you think during the course you can talk about nurturing long-term realtor relationships? Example, I get a meeting with a new realtor and it goes fine, but no leads come in. Can you talk about how you continue to prospect and build these relationships that sometimes take months or years before they turn into business? For example, how Tim Brahim mentioned he called one of his realtors for over a year before any business resulted. Boom, absolutely. So we're going to first talk about how to get the first meeting, but I would be foolish if I didn't actually tell you what to do to follow up afterwards, because I'll tell you this, right? You have this great meeting with the real estate agent, and here's what happens. They're like, oh, hey, nice meeting you. And then off. Well, what's next, right? And so we'll talk through the scripting of that meeting so you can learn about them, because you've got to learn about them, what's important to them, so you can figure out, well, how am I going to insert my next follow-up, right? Or like, what am I listening for in that meeting, so that I can make sure I have a reason to add value to them down the road, because that's the biggest risk. The biggest risk is that you meet with them, you spent their time, more importantly, your time, and then you don't end up getting the business. It's really rare that I met with a realtor and got business on the first day. And then you absolutely have to keep dating your real estate agents over time. You have to keep adding value, and you have to keep doing those meetings. So my team still works with our biggest relationships are relationships that I created when I produced, 2 of the 3 biggest relationships. And I'll walk through sort of what we still do today on those. And transparently, I'm involved in those, right? I pick up the phone and I call the leadership of those. I met with one of the real estate agents last week, and sure enough, it was weird. I could kind of see there was a point in the year last year where, when I looked at our year-end numbers, where his referrals dropped off. Well, guess what? His team did a joint venture with a mortgage company. Guess what? Since I met with them, 3 leads to the team, right? And so again, you have to be paying attention to these things. So we'll absolutely talk about that kind of stuff. All right, we got lots of stuff. Keep it coming, because I'm going to stay here and answer all your questions as long as you have it. Someone says they're repeating. I won't say your name, but yes, you should join, because you're repeating your first year over and over again. But thank you for your transparency. All right, I only do reverse, but love your systems. Would your scripts work for financial planners and CPAs? So great question. I would say this. We'll absolutely talk about getting CPAs and financial planners when we get there. And I'm going to focus on real estate agents, because that's what 60% of the people are going to need. Maybe 80% of the people are going to need. So we're going to talk about that. And then, yes, I'll throw in there financial planners, CPAs, divorce attorneys, how to go after those other folks, the captain of the wealth team idea, because I feel like if I don't give you that I'm kind of selling you short. So we'll have resources for going after those folks. We'll talk about scripts after going with those folks, and we'll go deeper into the real estate side, but absolutely we'll be committed that we'll spend some time on that. That might be in the Q&A that we do, at the end of that session, or throughout. And that's kind of what the Q&A sessions are designed for. Now, they're really for you to ask any question. We're always going to start off with questions about what we just learned today and what we learned in the previous weeks. And then sometimes you'll give me a question and it's going to be really hard for me. Like, it's going to take every ounce of my soul to not answer a question that I'm going to talk about next week. So there will be some times where I'm like, hey, you know what, let's put a pin in that. We're talking about that in 2 weeks. And I'll apologize when I do that. And I may give a little bit of preview just because we're on. But really the reason that I've got that time scheduled for Q&A is for any of you who have kind of some uniqueness to your marketing, uniqueness to your business that you need to go. I'm very familiar with reverse, and I love that. And I feel like reverse has obviously some parts that are different, upfront, because of the fact that you guys put together a proposal and do it a little bit differently. But the process and everything else, I think there's lots of other pieces I think that are really important. Really building your database from those folks to get more reverse. If you do 0 forward mortgages, then, again, you probably have someone you're referring those to. I don't know if you get a referral fee or not in your world, but, we could certainly talk about all of that, but I do believe it would be valuable for you as well. Someone said, I'm nowhere near where I want to be right now and would love some coaching. It would only depend on what days, as I have my granddaughter 2 days a week. I love that, right? So some of you know my story. I started out in the business and I was a part-time loan officer. Well, let me say that differently. I started out in the business and I was getting my MBA at night. I was a stay-at-home dad. And so I drove my kids to school in the morning. My kids, my middle kid I only had one at the time, or two at the time, but I have three now. My middle kid, she was my youngest then. She was that kid that wouldn't go into the teacher and wouldn't play with her friends. So I was the dad on the playground until the teacher came out and would peel my daughter off my legs and then drag her into class. And then I would zoom down the street to the mortgage office and I would work until 2 o'clock when I picked up my two kids. And I would joke with my clients, hey, I probably have kicking, screaming kids in the background when I did it, but it was endearing to them. So absolutely. If you have, it's Tuesdays at noon PST, I already said it, but it'll be recorded. So I would just encourage you, even if Tuesday's day you got your grandkids, I would still jump in and join. And then you'll just have to email me questions and then I'll talk about the questions to the group and then you'll have it in your email. So I think that would be good. So someone says, what is the cost after 3 months? It's kind of a funny question. The answer is, I don't know. And don't laugh and don't say, well, how wouldn't you know that, Todd? I've decided I will do an ongoing product, a group, but I don't know what that's going to look like. So let me tell you what happened last time. Last time I actually did 2 groups simultaneously. I did one group that was this group, right? It was operating system 2.0, installing your operating system. I did one called building referral relationships. And so what I did was I took the referral piece here and then I did accountability and made people do things like schedule happy hours and schedule lunch and learns. And there was, and both classes were really big. And I had a lot of people in both classes, which was overwhelming to them. I told them they shouldn't do that. And so I'll tell you that transparently, I'm thinking about that in the back of my mind, running that. Although that's part of the reason that we have 12 straight weeks now is because I brought some of that content into here. It's obviously just won't go on for 12 weeks of hammering and the accountability piece that goes with that. But ultimately, I'm going to do some type of follow-up. So I might do that. So you can't hold me to it. Or, I may just do ongoing, hey, here's what I'm thinking about this week. It probably wouldn't be weekly ongoing. It would probably be bi-weekly ongoing. And then some of you have heard me say it from my original group. When I tried to fire everybody, I still actually do a group that, nope, you can't get into it because, well, maybe if they said you could, but right now, no, you can't get into it. But I actually have an ongoing group that I meet with every other week. And we've done that since they were a part of the very first group that I had. And it's, means a lot to me. It's actually one of the things I look forward to every other week is to having my hour with them. And we've all become friends and it's just a lot of fun. And so what I'll tell you this is that I probably will do something. I'm open for your feedback on what it should be. And my guess is that it'll probably be tiered again. But I can't promise that. I mean, I'll do something. Hopefully hopefully I don't need to tier because you're all making so much money that won't matter. All right. Someone said, never mind. I answered it. That's okay. But I might've already, that was your time question, but yeah, I thought your other thing was really good. So do I assist in setting up SOPs and software recommendations for those systems? SOP, standard operating procedure. Hopefully that's right. I would say, yeah, I mean, I've got processes that I believe should be, what you do. You probably heard me talk about the word standard before. I've got like 5 words that are like big words to me: decision, standard, intentional, commit. I'm probably forgetting the other one, but I got lots of words. You'll hear me say these same words over and over again. And so I believe you actually create standards and then your team follows standards. That's why my team is so successful and still does it. Not that we never change those operating procedures, but they're the standards that the team follows. And they're all, on operations side, if you guys know DISC at all, right? They're all SCs or CSs, right? They're all super steady. They're super compliant. So you set a rule and they follow the rule. Now you go to the other side, which is where most loan officers are. And loan officers are all over the board. They don't follow operating procedures. That's why I call it operating system. You have to have an operating system for you. And when I had an operating system for me, my business went up 45% a year when everything else was flat that year. No new big realtor account, no new big builder account. I just was better at my job because I had an operating system that I implemented. And so this is what I did then, plus all the other pieces that I've put together. Now, software, I've got a section on tools, and we will talk about tools. But I'm not going to encourage anyone to go out and spend money on tools, because I think that if I have a program that's based around specific tools that you have to go buy, then I'm doing you a disservice, right? I'm trying to get you in here to say, what is it that you currently have? So you'll do a tool inventory for me at some point where I get to know, what are you using a CRM? If so, what is it? And I'm always going to tell you to look at what your company provides first, because you shouldn't, either you're paying for it, or either you're not paying for it, on a monthly fee, right? You're paying for it in whatever you pay them on a loan, or there's a reduced cost if you're using what your company owns. So absolutely, I'll reference products. I'll reference best practices, but if I teach you systems that rely on you spending money, then I'm not doing you justice, right? So yeah, we'll talk about things, right? Like, I'm not going to talk about annual mortgage reviews in the pre-qualification, the loans in process, and not talk to you about a mortgage coach total cost analysis. Why? Because I got it my first day in the business when I shouldn't have spent any money on it, by the way. I bought it my first day in the business because I knew that could differentiate me. And it was a big help as I was, I thought I was smart. I was getting my MBA. But you know what? There's other ways to do that. I would say maybe not as good, but there's other ways to do it. So I'm going to be teaching you all these things where you can use whatever tool it is you have, or whatever tool, or do without a tool. So I hope that helps from that perspective. But, there's definitely tools I'm passionate about, but, a lot of these things, it's just whatever you use or whatever you have. Okay. So how will I be discussing this process workflow role on each member of your team? Absolutely. So we will do a little bit of a talk on teams at some point. I forgot what week it is, but it's towards the end, because again, most of you are thinking about growing and scaling the team. And then, since I know I've got people that are doing 100+ loans a year that are going to be on here, again, I think that that'll be part of the Q&A. Now, if you're someone who's brand new, or you're doing less loans and you're like, yeah, gosh, Todd, you know what? Like, I don't want to, that's not good for me to hear. You're wrong. Actually, it's great for you to hear. I actually feel like it's a gift that we're going to have some people who are really good already. So think about that for a second, right? When you've got somebody who did, almost 150 loans last year, right? I don't know what their, average loan size was or all that, but guess what? They made a lot of money, right? That wasn't just barely 6 figures. That was into the 6 figures, really good. And I should have done a higher level for those people, but I didn't. But that's fine. They get the bargain price for being 5+ loans, but they're going to add huge value because they're going to ask questions that you can't even think of yet, right? They're going to ask things about team roles and stuff like that, or hey, I've got this person and this is where they're struggling, or hey, what about this? And you guys will learn a ton. It'll be one of those things, because what happens is that for me, when I hung around these people who are better than I was, it sucked me along the way. I got in their jet stream and it pulled me along and made me better faster, right? And so that's the whole goal here, is for you to take my mistakes, my learning, what I see now with my team, because they're still out there making success, making mistakes. What I still get when I talk, I laugh. I mean, literally right before I got on this call, I got a buddy who, runs a back end for, big regional company calling me. I had another buddy who I reached out to ask him, hey, what are your top ideas for new loan officers? He was calling me, but he was a master's coach with me for a decade. I actually was one-on-one coach for 2 years when I was doing that, the 2 years I did it. Super good people that I'm going to take what they also have given me, that they allow me to share, right? I've got stuff that I know from my coaching clients that, guess what? Mum's the word. You're not going to get info on that, but there's so much out there that they're willing to put out and share. And here's the crazy part, right? If you ever hear him, we interviewed Josh Metal once, and someone asked, well, Josh, why would you be willing to share your scripts and your secrets with all of us? And he said, because most of you won't execute on it. That's sad, right? I mean, it really is sad. And he's sharing it with people all over, including in his market where he does business. And the best share for 2 reasons. Number one is because they're abundant thinkers and they want you to be better. And they also share because they don't think you're going to do anything with it. And so my goal always is going to be for you to take action. And that's really what I'm passionate about here. Will Win by Noon planner included, or will it be needed to be purchased separately? So it is not included and it does not need to be purchased. However, you'll certainly be better if you use it, right? I mean, there's no doubt when we talk about stuff, I would tell you this: if you're one of the brand new people and you're like, oh gosh, I can barely afford the $99, I can't afford the subscription for Win by Noon, again, reach out to me. We can chat about it. I would love to talk about that. But Win by Noon is always going to make you better, right? I mean, it just is. And the reason I say that is because Win by Noon is a place for you to record your activities and record your and track your results so that you can figure out your numbers. And so again, you can do that on an Excel spreadsheet. You can do it on a pad of paper, right? In the old days, I did it here in my little notebook, right? So this is it. So you don't have to have win by noon. I'm not going to force you to win by noon, but I would tell you that, selfishly, you're going to be better if you have it. Someone said, thank you. You're welcome. Starting part-time. So, all right. So here's what I don't know about it. If you're part-time and, again, high five for you. When I started in the business, I was part-time. I think the homework will be doable. And why? Because I designed it for people who were full-time and busy, right? I mean, again, if you remember what I said early on, originally this was sold as in a group of 10 with high level of accountability for 50 grand. And the people who were in those groups were super experienced. They were, it was a combination. These companies would pick strategically who do they want in there. And they would pick a couple of their top LOs, a couple of the mid-level LOs, and a couple of the new LOs. And the reason they would do that is, again, they wanted that slipstream. They wanted the new people to learn from the mid-level people, and the mid-level people learn from the super experienced people. And so I think you'll be okay if you're part-time and do that. And, the challenge just may become, at the end, it's just going to be a lot, right? And it's going to be a lot, and I'm not going to apologize for it because that's the gift of the program. I could have spread it out. Why didn't I spread it out? I didn't want to spread it out because I didn't want to not get all the details out in Q1 when you could still take action to make 2022 great. I also wanted to make sure it was there and it would track those higher end producers that are doing more loans, because I know if I can get them in the group, they're going to ask the questions that are going to help the rest of you grow. Someone's talking about their specific sales, but their specific CRM. And so again, I don't want to get distracted by that now. I would just say, like what I said before about tools, right? Figure out what works best for you. I always like company CRMs because they're typically free or low cost, and they also support them. They also have all their marketing stuff built in there, but we'll actually talk about that. All right, someone's going out of the country for 2 weeks and says, will that be a problem? Well, first off, I'm really jealous. Good for you. I don't think it'll be a problem. Again, it just kind of depends how unplugged you're going to be when you're away. What I would just tell you is that those 2 weeks, in fact, you can just shoot me an email and we can strategize around when you'll be gone and how to sort of fix it. But yeah, what I would say is you'll either watch the recordings when you're sitting on the beach somewhere, hopefully doing something fun, or you might just be totally unplugged, which would be even cooler. And then you will catch up when you get back. And probably, again, we can sort of talk about what those 2 weeks are, and we can sort of try to figure out how to make sure that you still get info from there. Someone's asked me if I recommend having a personal website. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I think because this is specific to the program, that's why I'm not going into those questions. Just so you know, there's gonna be no question that's gonna be off limits for me during the Q&A during the program, right? So again, I'm a very open and transparent person, and I will walk through and I'll answer all those kinds of questions. But since this is specific to the program, the short answer is yes, I do recommend that. But ultimately, I don't want to spend time here on that today. Closing 200 plus loans a year. I can't afford not to attend. Looking forward to your continued wisdom, Todd. Thank you. New Matt, thank you so much. Right. So there you go. So that's the new top bar, 200 plus loans, and is going to be there. And I promise you this, if you can't learn something from me, you'll learn something from the questions that Matt's going to ask me. And so I think that's really I think the biggest part about it is that I think it's going to be transformational for anyone who chooses to go all in, as my friend Coach Bill Hart would say. In fact, Bill was my first coach, in case you wonder who that person was. And so the bottom line is that there's going to be people who don't make it through the program. And for me personally, that's a failure. Like, I feel bad when someone pays for something and doesn't complete it, but that is super common, right? We all know it because you've bought programs that you've never watched. Right? I mean, I have. I've got a drawer full of projects that I started and never implemented, right? I don't want that to be the case from this. And so I've got to figure out how to get you guys all to come across the finish line with me. So that's why there's homework, right? If there's no homework, there's hard for me to tell who's doing what and who's engaging. Yeah, I'll see who shows up on Zoom each week. But if you don't show up on Zoom, I'm not going to call your parents or anything and say, hey, where were they? Or your branch manager, right? I do have branch managers who are sending their team members. In fact, I should have said this way earlier. Who do you know who should be in here with you, right? Who do you know? The number one way to get through this better is with somebody else alongside of you in your branch or some friend in your sphere, and have them be your accountability partner, right? I'm here, I'm going to be your accountability partner. But what's even better when you can pick up the phone afterwards and say, what the heck did Todd say? Did that make any sense to you? And of course I'll say, well, you should have asked me to clarify it. But it's really good to have somebody else that you can bounce these ideas off of, and that you can figure out how to do, and that they can, you can almost do mini accountability challenges. So I think that would be something else to consider. Someone said, will I be sending a calendar invite for the series? Yes. So here's what's going to happen. I will I'll probably do it sometime this weekend, but by Monday, I will be, as you sign up, it's just the program's not cool enough to send you the Zoom link on it, but it'll have the Zoom link with all those Tuesdays at noon. And it'll have the thing to get in there and all the details. So once you do that, then you will, you'll be signed up in Zoom, and we're going to jump in here and we're going to do it. And it's going to look a lot like this, because I'm going to be standing in front of my desk most days. If I put up my fake back desk, then it'll just look like my fake background. And so, yeah, that'll be the hardest part. The hardest part is going to keep you all engaged if you're busy, right? And so that's why there's going to be a little bit of productivity in there. That's why we're going to, again, it's going to be walk, jog, and then run, but we're going to be running pretty fast. Like I said, when we were doing 6 months, we didn't start jogging and running until a little bit later. We don't have time in a 12-week program to do that. And that's actually the fun part. That's the challenge for me. And I really had to think hard about it, because, transparently, it would be easier for me if I didn't run, if the first half was every week and the second half was every other week, but you guys can do it. I got confidence in you. All right. What else? I think I got all the questions. If I didn't answer your question, then it'd be a good time to retype it and say, hey, Bozo, you didn't answer my question. But ultimately, no, my belief is that you're just a couple of degrees away from being on the right course to being where you need to go, right? It just could be 1 or 2 scripts. Could be just one process. But ultimately, in the end, you're going to get through this, and you're going to have everything that I've ever put out there. Is really, when you look at it, it's kind of the whole package of being a loan officer. That's why I call it the operating system. There's not much that's not in there. And it's going to be little things that you may have never thought of. Like, I created a process called for pre-qualification called Good, Better, Best. And it's a process. And, I just loved it. Like, one of the loan officers who went through the first group, and she was brand new in the business, was barely making it, and now she's crushing it. She took it to her company, and they turned it into a flyer for her that she sent out. It was super fancy. But ultimately, it was, how do you get someone who doesn't give any documentation to get to a better, pre-qualification where you have all the documents reviewed? And then how do you actually go, if your company will do a TBD underwrite and fully pre-approve a client, how do you get them to that? And so this Good, Better, Best series of emails that went out to the client and to the real estate agent was a big help to my team, and I think it'd be a help to you as well. All right, someone says, I'm excited. How do you get started? So that is this slide here that was up. Go here and sign up. That is, voila. WBNoperating.com. Oh, look, I got a question over the Q&A. Oh, no, I already did that one. That was really exciting for a second. I thought there was another question. Yeah, so just go to WBNoperating.com, and that has the sign up. So you're just going to scroll down till you figure out your level of what you need to pay, and you're going to pay that part. And so, the more loans you do, the further down you have to scroll. And so there's someone else that I'm glad you made me aware of your program. Looking forward to learning from you. They Building Champions Foundation years ago, which is, that's my foundation, is Building Champions. I think they're a fabulous company for one-on-one coaching. And so I think that's great. So is there ever a possibility for in-person events? You know what? I hope so, right? I really hope so. I feel like there will be. Yeah, it's on my roadmap. Kind of obviously going to see how COVID plays out this year, but I've done in-person trainings the past few years, and that's a lot of fun. We actually did, the last one I did was right in February of 2020 before COVID hit. And I did my Win by Noon certified instructor training. I had done it. It was like the 3rd or 4th time I did it. And then what I did was, because again, people wanted a live mastermind, I hosted a live one-day mastermind the day before. And what was really weird about it was I had people who flew in just for the mastermind, and didn't stay for the other and vice versa. So it was kind of a cool thing. So yeah, I totally agree with that. He said the tribe effect is really powerful. It is. And it's probably the funnest thing for me is the people that I've met over the years, right? To hear from them. Like I got a text from a client who I coached for 2 years. And he just said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, coach, that I've made $1.1 million, not just last year, but the year before too." And I was like, holy smokes, like this was a guy who, wasn't even making half that when I first started coaching him. And, the fact, obviously there was some tailwinds in those last 2 years, but, it was just fun to get a thank you text from someone, for basically changing, his and his family's life. And so I don't know that, this group code guy, hopefully it's life-changing, right? Certainly could be. So, so that's good. Someone said they just signed up for Mortgage Coach. And so, yeah, I mean, anytime there's an opportunity to insert a tool, yes, I'll talk about it. And, especially one that's near and dear to my heart. So absolutely. And again, those are the kind of things where, let's pretend I teach a process and I'm teaching it and you start asking me about a specific tool. I may ignore you till the Q&A. And then that's where we'll talk about it. Because again, the Q&A is designed at the end to be the part where you get to say, hey, well, what about this tool? And if I know the tool, then I'll obviously talk about it. If I don't know the tool, then I'll talk about whatever little bit I know, or just say, hey, I've never heard of that. Educate me on it. And so, yeah, we'll look at all those types of things. There's not a ton of tools that I think are musts. The two obviously that I love is Mortgage Coach and HomeBot, and then a CRM. I don't know that you need any tools in addition to that, maybe a calculator. But I have one of those 10B calculator apps on my phone. So that does it for me. So, all right. So there's still almost all of you here. I mean, literally, oh no, one person just jumped off. So I've lost 2 people this whole time. That's it. So someone says they're getting an error message when they sign up. That's really weird. Someone else got that earlier. Do me a favor. If you're getting an error message, email me, todd@winbynoon.com. And then tell me which level you're going to sign up for, and I'll send you the direct link, because I don't know why it works when I go to it. But I can get the direct link, because I'll just go and I'll click on it for you. So just send me an email if you're having an error message. So let's just do todd@winbynoon.com. So I'm sending that to you all. So you have my email address, and just tell me, yeah, I'm signing up for I do 2 to 4 loans a month. I'm signing up the 199 level, and I'll send you the direct link to that. All right, people, this is it. We did 47 minutes. See, my goal was really to be done anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour. It depends. And so just so you know, this is sort of what the Q&A goes like on the group calls, because again, like this is what happened last time at the very end of my last webinar. So webinars go like this, right? You start off, you get a bunch of people that join 5 minutes late, and then you kind of stay steady. You stay steady, and then about halfway to 80% through, you start losing people, right? Their phone starts ringing and things happen. And at the end, you still have people hanging on, right? So I still have all but 2 people who signed into this, maybe 3 now, that are still here. And that means to me, you're looking for some more nuggets and some more magic. And so that's when I start looking around and I start saying, well, what do we talk about? But I'm not going to do that today. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you the gift of a few minutes of your time. You thought this was going to take an hour, and I'm going to give you about 10 minutes back. So let me just say it one last time. I'm going to take this off so you can see it. You can see me, right? Here's what I would say. If you're still here and you haven't signed up and you're questioning it, that just tells me, rip off the Band-Aid and sign up, right? You're still here because you're getting value from what we're talking about. And this is what this program's about. It's about adding value and helping you grow in 2022. It's not helping you just grow in the number of loans, but being consistent in the number of loans. It's helping you do that one step at a time up the mountain. And literally it's going to be me sharing, all the stuff that I've done with that little bit of accountability, if you choose to take it, which I think is what's going to be the secret sauce for those of you who do it. And just know that it's about me impacting lives. It's about me impacting you. And I already said it. If you can't afford it and that's why you haven't signed up, send me an email, todd@winbynoon.com. And ultimately just know that I am grateful. I'm grateful that you're still here listening to this. I'm grateful for those of you who signed up for it. And I don't take that investment you're making lightly. I said it's a low investment cost, but just know that I'm humbled by the fact that people are here watching this. And that just inspires me to make sure that I show up and I give you guys 110% each week. So someone said, how did the Win by Noon planners differ. They use Mortgage Coach, but not consistent. The Win by Noon planners are, the loan officer version is the same as the Mortgage Coach version. The Mortgage Coach version just has that very cool Mortgage Coach logo on the front. These stickers are optional. They didn't come with it. These are just ones that are old ones that we've created around here. But we do sell Win by Noon stickers. All right, another question. Will you be using the planner as part of your processes in the coaching program? So great question. And so I'll just revisit that again. No, you don't have to have the planner. I will be talking about the planner because it's the planner, the product that I use, and I have loan officers that use, but you don't have to have it. But we'll talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to go really deep into the planner, but again, that's a great thing you can ask me during the Q&A, because that's, if you're like, hey, I'm struggling with the, whatever this thing means in the planner, then you can ask it in there. But we're not going to do a class on how to use Win by Noon, because there's plenty of that out there, and that's not what people are signing up here for. So if you want the planner, you just go to winbynoon.com, and you can see right there, you can subscribe there. All right. So will I send the link to the Facebook group via email? We will. The documents aren't going to be loaded into a Facebook group. They're going to be loaded into the portal. So when you sign up, it gives you access to the WBN training vault or knowledge vault. I forgot what it's called. I should remember that. And in that vault is where we're going to load the stuff up in there. So it's, password protected. You'll have your own individual account, and you'll be able to get in there. All right. Now I lied to you guys. See, you're still all here. Luckily, one of you got off. There's still, but again, this is what it's about for me, right? I schedule a time, and then I'm going to give 100% during that time. And it's just one of those things. Again, you see me look around, I'm just looking and saying, okay, well, what's inspiring here? And I think it's, whatever's inspiring is kind of what inspires you. For me, I'm really in a personal growth journey right now. Again, we're not really talk about that, but I'm sure I'll get questions on that on the Q&A, and you'll hear lots of those. I don't know if I'd call my bits of wisdom, but I'm going to talk about this stuff as we go through this. I don't have much of a filter, and that's a bad thing a lot of times, but in a group coaching program, it's actually a good thing. That's how you're going to get the most out of it, because I'm not going to be holding anything back. I learned long ago that that people need to be told the truth, and when sometimes you kind of have to ask permission from as a coach, like, are you, how much feedback do you really want? Right. Like, oftentimes, someone will go off on a rant on a one-on-one call, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that was a lot. Right. And so my next question always is, are you open to feedback on that? And not because I've got the right answer, or I just have a different perspective, right? Perspective is what a lot of these things take. And so that's where we're going to mesh all this stuff together. We're going to take my perspective and everyone else's perspective and your perspective, so that you can decide, hey, what does it need to look like for me going forward? All right, that is it. I'm really going to quit this time. I will, if you missed part of this, because some of you probably did, I will be posting the recording to this to the website that was just up, that WBNoperating-system.com. I'll post it up there so you can access it, and you can watch it if you really think you want to watch it again. What I'm hoping is that you will just show up on Tuesday. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. Like I said, it sincerely means a lot to me. I'm investing a lot of energy and time into it, and you'll see it with my enthusiasm, and we're just gonna have a blast. So we're gonna have 12 weeks of having fun together, and then maybe beyond, we'll, as I said before, but I'm grateful. Thank you. Have a fabulous weekend. If you have a 3-day weekend, good for you. I'm teaching on Monday, so I won't be doing that, but great. Look forward to it all. You guys are all so welcome. It's my